Back at the opening of AlpenFury, I knew I wanted to do a coaster duel video featuring AlpenFury, but the question that I couldn't answer was which roller coaster should face off against it. The more I look over the layout, pacing, and elements of AlpenFury, the more I'm starting to see that this roller coaster is basically a one-of-a-kind. Sure, it has some similarities with other multi-launching roller coasters, but I would argue none have the pacing or layout that AlpenFury pulls off. By and large, most keep comparing AlpenFury with Maverick. They both feature 2 launches and lean toward the aggressive, intense side of things. But as you will see when we start diving deeper into this video, there are clear differences between the 2 roller coasters. To prove more of my point that there really isn't another launch coaster like AlpenFury, at the end of this video I will compare this Premier Rides roller coaster to some other launch coasters just to see how they stack up. Before we get into this coaster duel, please do me a favor by clicking on that like button. Newcomers to my channel that love everything roller coasters, be sure to follow. For those who are new to my coaster duels, the first area I like to compare is the ride stats. Each stat is worth a half point. For these coasters, I will be comparing 4 stats: height, length, speed, and inversions. AlpenFury is going to snag 3 of those categories with height, speed, and inversions. Maverick is still longer of the 2 coasters, earning a half point. Okay, for the remaining categories of this duel, each one will earn a roller coaster 1 point. First up, let's talk about the best drop. AlpenFury doesn't have a traditional large drop. The largest element of the ride is that crazy twisting inverted top hat as you blast out of the mountain. Maverick, on the other hand, starts off with a more traditional roller coaster drop that features a steep 95-degree angle. This moment produces some of the strongest negative G-forces of the whole ride. Between the 2, I favor the airtime found on Maverick versus the dizzying sensation created by AlpenFury. Maverick gets this point. Presentation. Both roller coasters have some great presentation. AlpenFury is literally built inside and along a giant man-made mountain, which is the center point of Canada's Wonderland. All of the theming found on AlpenFury is either the mountain or the items located inside the tunnel prior to blasting out. Occasionally, there are some fire effects that happen while the train blasts out through the top of the mountain. During my visit, I didn't get to see this effect, but it looks pretty neat nonetheless. Maverick has the benefit of being around for a longer time, meaning that the trees and foliage has really grown in, adding to the whole presentation of the ride. Maverick has a lot of rock work, trees, foliage, a decent looking station and queue that fits the Frontier theme, and that tunnel at the midpoint of the ride really ties the whole theming together. Between the 2, sure, the mountain is a lot more stunning, but that's just a small fraction of the whole ride on AlpenFury. As for Maverick, the presentation touches every moment of the ride, fully encapsulating this ride into the theme. Maverick earns 1 point for presentation. Train design and restraints. Maverick features the old generation Blitz coaster trains. These trains originally had the hard over-the-shoulder straps but were replaced a few years back for the more comfortable soft straps. The train is a little tight on space and the straps aren't the best, but miles above the comfort collars found on Skyrocket 2 models by Premier Rides, or any hard over-the-shoulder restraint by Aero or B&M. AlpenFury has the next generation Skyrocket 2 model trains that do not have a comfort collar. It's a simple lap bar with a shin guard to hold riders in place. Getting in and out of the train, though still snug, it's not as challenging as on their older models. With that said though, being a taller guy, I have a slight problem with their lap bar. I feel like it comes down more on my thighs, making the couple strong pops of airtime painful than exciting. In the end though, I would rather strap into this train than the one found on Maverick, earning AlpenFury a point in this category. Airtime. Both roller coasters do not have a ton of airtime. Maverick has about 3 or 4 moments of airtime, while AlpenFury has 2 or 3 depending on where you are seated. Both roller coasters have more emphasis on faster pacing and snappy turns. Between the 2, however, I would argue that Maverick has better moments of airtime. The first drop and first airtime hill are solid moments of ejector airtime. Almost every moment of airtime in AlpenFury is saved for the ending, and it's only 2 quick pops of strong ejector. Overall, it's not an easy win for Maverick, but enough to push it in its favor, earning another point, this time for airtime. Pacing. As I just mentioned, both roller coasters have a stronger emphasis on pacing over airtime. Maverick, once you reach the top of the first drop, keeps the energy moving with low-to-the-ground elements and snappy turns. However, the pacing is broken up a bit as the train comes to a near stop at the midpoint of the ride. For those who like balls-to-the-wall action might be disappointed with this little breather on Maverick, but once that second launch kicks in, the action returns to heightened levels prior to the first half of the ride. AlpenFury, on the other hand, once you hit that first set of LSMs, this coaster never lets up once until you are sitting on the brake run. This roller coaster is truly a non-stop action experience. With the high speeds and inversions, the ride becomes a blur of motion. You have to ride this roller coaster multiple times to fully soak in every element when it happens. AlpenFury easily snatches 1 point for pacing. Best inversion. If fate played out differently, I think we all know which inversion would be holding this title. I am speaking about the infamous zero-G roll that was originally on Maverick. The coaster only tested with the inversion, never open to the public. It was discovered during testing that this roll was too intense, causing too much strain on the train, so it was scrapped in favor of a bland S-bend maneuver. I'm always holding out that one day Intamin will come back and revamp this inversion back into the ride, but that's more of a pipe dream than anything. The only other set of inversions on Maverick would be the horseshoe roll, which is basically 2 corkscrews back to back, nothing too exciting. AlpenFury, on the other hand, has 9 inversions, not 7 inversions like RCDB is claiming, but 9 moments where this coaster flips you upside down. It's hard to pull off my favorite element, but I think it's going to be the Fire Serpent roll. It's basically 2 back-to-back zero-G rolls that intertwine with an overbank turn. This is fast, snappy, delivering some decent whip that's sure to thrill. AlpenFury wins this point. The launch. Both roller coasters feature 2 launches, with the first of the 2 being somewhat tamer than the second one. Maverick's first launch is basically a glorified lift hill, not really offering much in forms of intensity or kick. The second launch, on the other hand, is very forceful, completely indoors, enhanced with cool tracer lights running down the side of the tunnel. The snappy turn at the end really emphasizes how fast and out of control you will feel blasting from the tunnel. AlpenFury starts off with a surprisingly decent mini launch that has a little kick. It's only there to push you into the tunnel, but still has a nice kick. The second launch completely lets loose, sending you flying up and over as you exit through the top of the mountain. It's a very fast, intense launch that will keep you pinned to your seat. Between the 2, both have a solid second launch, making this really tough to decide which one is better. However, when you encompass all launches into the fold, AlpenFury comes out on top, earning another point, this time in the launch. The last category will be operations. Maverick has the advantage here for being around considerably longer, allowing the park to really hone in their skills operating this attraction. Back in the day, Maverick was plagued with a lot of downtime, bringing operations to a standstill. Over the past few years, it seems like Maverick has improved considerably. The ride still has downtime, but I feel like it's becoming less frequent. When this coaster is on point, it can send a train about every 50 seconds, meaning the ride has a throughput of about 864 riders an hour. AlpenFury is a brand new roller coaster. With that comes a fleet of bugs that need to be worked out. While I was at the park, the coaster would go down occasionally, but thankfully only for about 30 minutes or so. When it was running at full performance, I clocked a train about every 2 minutes, which means this coaster has a throughput of only 540 riders an hour. Again, this was during their opening weekend. I'm hoping by then that they have honed in their coasters some more. I could see dispatches closer to 90 seconds, which would dramatically increase output to about 720 riders an hour, which is getting closer to what Maverick can pull off. Between the 2, for now, I'm going to give this point to Maverick, but as I said, once the park hones in this attraction, I could see operations improve much more, reaching heights of about 920 riders an hour, which is about every 70 seconds. Alright, the final tally comes to Maverick with 4.5 points and AlpenFury with 5.5 points, making it the winner in today's duel. In the end, both are incredible roller coasters that have their own merits to shine in. AlpenFury is the new kid on the block and continues to be a smashing success for Canada's Wonderland. Intamin has had a lot of success with their Blitz coaster, all starting back with the debut of Maverick. Hopefully now Premier Rides can snag some of that success as other parks see how great AlpenFury is and want a coaster model like it at their home park. So, as I mentioned earlier, I had a hard time deciding which coaster should go toe-to-toe with AlpenFury because I think there really isn't another launch coaster quite like it. It's like the combination of Maverick's launch out of the tunnels, Steel Curtain's twisted pile of track, and Pantherian's insane pacing. If I could take a few other notable launch coasters and stack it against AlpenFury using the same categories of this duel, here are the results.
Activate.
Well, that's going to do it for today's duel. Tell me in the comments who you want to face off next. As always, this is Extreme Thrills.